Can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would, please?
Sure. Where's
Over here in front of you.
Right in front of you.
all right? I pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I guess the first order of business, congratulations to Rika and Nathan on their election to the board. The first order of business is to the election of a chairperson. And just in complete disclosure, I did contact each member and ask for support to be the chairperson. At this point in time, we'll accept nominations for the chair. Do I hear any nominations for the chair?
I'll nominate you, Mike. How officially how formally do I have to state
You
that?
just did.
Okay.
Nominations do not require a second. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Dave Fuller. We'll make it an interesting little thing here.
There you go. Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, I'll close nominations for the chair.
I'm not sure, Mr. Chair. I think that the town manager should be running this.
Actually, Robert's Rules of Order is the guide on this, and the chair is the chair until his successor is elected or appointed, according to the rules. We've always done it that way, but my recent activity with another issue has put me in Robert's Rules of Order a great deal.
That could be, but past practice of Weathersfield has been that the manager has always opened
I understand that.
the special meeting.
I understand that, but the rules actually state that the chair is the chair until his successor is elected or appointed. Those are the rules. So
I would have to read up on that, but it's the way that
Robert's
past
Rules of
practice.
Order 12th edition, came out in 2020.
I'm only stating what Weathersfield has done for the 47 years that I've lived here. And been involved in every single town manager.
Has anything changed that you think is out of order at this time?
Hearing room.
Hello?
That person logged off.
Feedback?
There was an iPhone user.
At this time, we simply have two nominations on the floor for the chair. Do you think that anything would change doing it any other way?
No, I just,
Clarifying question. I don't have that answer, but I am, in past practice, what has been the role of the chair versus the vice chair on the select board?
The role of the chair versus the vice chair?
On the select board, yeah.
The chair is the chair. The vice chair assumes the role of the chair in the absence of the chair. There's no limitations or exceptions on the duties that follow. In other words, if the chair were absent, whoever the vice chair is assumes the role and has full slate of responsibility that the chair would have.
you would, however, have to look up the town policy as far as the duties of the chair goes.
Yeah, that's what I.
The chair sets the agenda for the meetings. The
That-
chair controls whatever's going on in the meetings. The chair has the sole discretion to adjourn a meeting without a vote.
That is not true. That is no longer true. Only in the instance of emergency. That changed in the new edition of Robert's Rules of Order.
I'll stand by my comment. It hasn't happened here, but there have been cases where sometimes a meeting will get a little bit out of control. The chair has to make a decision about whether to take a recess, whether to adjourn. They can do that.
Yes.
On the other hand, our town policy also has language in there that allows 3 board members in a warned public meeting to go over the chair with regard to something that may be on the agenda or something, some issue. But that takes another separate meeting. It's in our town policy somewhere. It's in the book of board member stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So are we ready to proceed?
Call the vote, yeah.
So all those in favor of, should I do them, let me ask, should I do them in the order they were nominated? or does it, do you,
I don't prefer any other method.
okay. All those in favor of Michael Todd for chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those for Dave Fuller signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Did I hear?
I think Nathan voted for you.
Oh, he did?
I think so.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that. So Nathan, Rika, and Michael Todd voted for Michael Todd, and David and Kelly voted for David. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Michael Todd is elected chair. Nominations for vice chair. I'll nominate Dave.
I'll nominate Nate McNaughton.
Find out how often he's apt to be absent
Yeah,
first,
that's the next question.
Not very.
and how soon.
been
I'm
absent
going to
once since
decline
I've
the
been home.
nomination.
And you're declining the
I'm
nomination?
declining.
Okay. So there is, Dave Fuller is declining the nomination. Nate, you're nominated. Any further nominations for chair? Nate, I'll tell you this, I seldom miss a meeting. I've missed one of these, I think, in like 4 years. Just so.
I mean,
Better read fast.
It's better than note taker. I just
Are there any further nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, all in favor of Nathan McNaughton for vice chair, signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Next is the election of a board clerk. This person would be responsible for taking minutes, notes, in the absence of a recording secretary. Occasionally that happens, but we typically record, so we just pass that along to them. The other instance might be a site visit type instance or something like that, where they can't be there, they can't record, and minutes need to be taken. So sometimes any documents that might be written or that might need to be signed by a clerk, as opposed to the chair. Most of the time, it's the chair.
Executive session.
Yeah, yeah, executive session. So, election of a board clerk. Nominations?
in a pinch, I'm willing.
I can nominate Rika.
Okay, we have a nomination for Rika. Any further nominations for board clerk? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Rika is the board clerk.
And how do I find out when I'm,
You'll know.
Yeah.
oh, good.
It's just like being on the
Yeah,
select board,
you'll
it's
know.
no different.
Okay,
You just have to take minutes every once in a while, that's all.
okay. But I'm not taking minutes?
No, because we
Okay.
got someone over there doing it today.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
That is the next thing on the agenda. We are going to appoint a recording secretary. Now, Nikki, is this something you're going to be continuing to do, or are you done?
Do you guys have anyone else?
The answer to that at this point in time, I think, is a unanimous no. So you're staying on. Is it getting any easier?
It is easier than last summer. Last summer was pretty intense,
Okay.
but it's
So-
been great since, so.
Okay, and has there been any issue with minutes for anybody that has experienced the minutes in the last year? Okay, so, love to have you stay. I'll nominate Nikki Royce, I believe, right? Nicole Royce, as recording secretary for the board. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Appointment of newspaper of record, Eagle Times and Valley News. These are the papers we have been using in the past.
Yep.
We're staying consistent with that.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to appoint the newspaper of record, Eagle Times, Valley News?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on Eagle Times, Valley News? Everybody happy with those publications so far? Dave, Kelly?
Is there anything that precludes adding, well, I suppose it says specifically a newspaper of record, but is there anything that would preclude including something like Front Porch Forum and so forth, other, I don't know how many people subscribe to things, and I didn't know whether front porch lends itself to the kinds of things you have to officially post.
I think part of this is a statutory requirement
I
for notices of hearings, tax sales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and I'm not sure that,
That's probably irrelevant.
Invitation
Yep.
for bids.
yeah, there's a list of statutory requirements that we have to meet, and that's really what this is. There's nothing that precludes any of those things from being used, but we have to declare a certain
Got it.
publication of record, and that's what this is. Any further discussion on the motion? Motion is to appoint the Eagle Times and Valley News as the newspaper of record. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Establish regular meeting dates and times. Currently, we meet on the first and third Monday of every month at 6:30. Do I hear a motion for that? Or would anybody like to recommend something different?
Can we entertain a discussion before a motion?
I'll allow it in this case. It's fine.
It would benefit me if we were able to change that day,
The day.
the day. The time works fine. It would just benefit me, just having another world in school, even though my employer knew, right? And I looked at that conflict before I ran. It just would benefit me if I could change that to another day, whether it be the Tuesday on the first and third, or the second and fourth Mondays.
My concern with changing the day is, I've been doing this since about 2008 or 9, I think. That sound about right, Dave? You remember? You've been doing it longer than I have. My concern for that would be that the people in the town are kind of accustomed and used to what we're doing, and our structure we would be changing, or our consistency, whatever the proper term there would be. Is anybody else affected by that? Brandon?
Did you say the second and fourth Monday would be?
Well, I did put out the Tuesdays would work great for
Anything but Monday is looking for.
anything
Tuesday.
with the first and third Monday, actually, or.
So if we switch it to the second and fourth Monday and just put the planning commission at the first and third?
I guess you could reverse it. I wouldn't have a problem with that myself.
We can get the word out there in Facebook and
Rest of the board members?
So I make a motion to change it to the,
Well, no, you just make a motion to set, because we're setting it, you don't have to make a motion to change it.
yeah. Just set it to the second and fourth.
At 6:30 at Martin Memorial Hall.
Yep.
Motion's been made, do I hear a second?
So move, second, rather.
Okay, there's a motion made and seconded to set the meeting dates for the select board meetings to the second and fourth Monday of the month. This would be a swap with the planning commission. The time would remain at 6:30, and the meetings would continue to be at Martin Memorial Hall. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries.
I do have one question with that.
Well, we already voted on the motion, but go ahead.
Sorry about that. So our next meeting would be this upcoming Monday, and then we'd have a meeting on the 4th, or are we going to skip the 11th? Meeting on the 11th?
Do we have other business on here? Yeah, let's take that up under any other business.
Okay.
We'll set the next meeting date there, okay? That work okay?
Yes.
Is there room for any discussions at this point, or is this considered?
Well, discussion on,
We voted on.
Well, it's just come to my attention that a number of the small surrounding towns somehow managed to get their select board business done in one meeting a month. Is there any possibility that we can make our meetings more efficient, or? I think not vested one way or the other, it's just an open question.
I think that also, at this point in time, would be a discussion under other business.
Okay.
that I will welcome that conversation. And so I'll make a note, we'll bring that up on other business. That way we can get through the agenda. Review minutes from previous meeting. Let me see, where are those? Select Board, February 20, I think. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held at 6:30 on February 20?
I will.
Do I hear a second? I'll second that motion. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on the minutes? Now, I wish Todd Hindinger was listening, because this has come up at the zoning board as well. I was not present at that meeting, but that does not preclude me or Rika or Nathan from voting on the minutes. This is no different than any other document that can be reviewed and accepted by the board. As a member of this board, you have the right to review these and vote on these minutes. If you haven't had a chance to review them and you'd like to, we can table them for the next meeting, or we can proceed with a vote on them. I have no problem with these minutes, as I've reviewed, and I will vote on them. But I leave it up to the board to decide whether they want to move forward with these minutes tonight, or if you want to wait till the next meeting. So, Dave, what do you think?
Go, you have the motion, don't you?
Kelly? What do you think?
They're fine the way they are, there's no problem with them, but
Okay.
they can wait, I don't
Rika
care,
and Nate, you okay, we'll move forward with them?
I guess.
Okay.
I have nothing to compare them against.
In my experience on boards, I would have abstained, not having, right.
But because it's a document that can be reviewed, and it's just representative, and you can actually go back and review it and compare it to tapes and transcripts, there isn't any reason why you can't vote on it, is all I'm saying. You can, if you choose to abstain, you can. I just wanted to be clear, I wasn't here, and I'm going to vote on these, because, which is, Dave, Kelly, and I could carry this if it was
Yeah, I
passed.
think I would personally feel more comfortable reviewing the tape and comparing it.
Do you want to table it? Would you prefer to table it
I
then?
mean, if the three of you can vote on it, that's cool, but
We'll see how the vote goes. If the vote fails, we'll table it. So there is a motion on the floor. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes of February the 20th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Nathan abstained. Rika?
I guess I'll abstain, yeah.
Okay, so Rika and Nathan abstained. The motion carries 3-0 to 2. 2 abstentions. Thank you. Future agenda items, Brandon, you got an eye on that at this time?
I have a couple. There was a public hearing on 3/18, which would be the third meeting of March.
And that is for,
How are we gonna handle that?
318 for what?
That's for Article 2 zoning districts and district standards, and Article 7 definitions.
Because that hearing requires a certain notice, we will need to rewarn that. We can't say, unless this board comes together on that date and votes to continue the hearing to a time and date specific, we can't do anything right now with it.
I think is there any urgency?
That's 318.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would move, keep that meeting and then change to the,
Well, that meeting is technically already set by the hearing, so we could just honor that meeting and meet on 318. And at that time, we could do the hearing, or we could table it and continue it, which would move it to, and if we did it that way, Nathan, what we would do is you could do it remotely. It would be like a 5-minute meeting just to open and move this meeting, and not actually have the hearing that night.
I can come to the meeting that night.
So
What I guess my suggestion would be, because, right, it's a big change that we voted on.
Yeah.
Would be to start the second and fourth in April, right? Plus that gives everybody time to adjust.
Okay.
Is that?
You okay with that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
That's, would be a.
So that keeps the hearing in place, and then we can move forward from that date.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
Okay, so include a note that what he just said, that change in those meeting dates will start in April.
Yes. The second thing, I just want to remind everyone, ARPA funds need to be obligated by 12/31 of this year. And we still have ARPA funds to obligate.
What's that date again?
12/31/24.
End of the year.
Yep.
Okay. So this is our final year for obligation. As long as we have them obligated, we're good.
And I think in the next meeting, I can provide what we've expended to date, and what we've expended it on, and then how much is remaining to be allocated.
Okay.
Can you bring up that reminder list too?
Yes.
Okay. It takes some hunting, but I could find it.
Yeah, I'll have it for the next meeting.
Okay.
Appointments. We have a long list of appointments here, and we could do this as a slate. However, we have to make a adjustment to this. If you go down to the planning commission, that is an error. There are no planning commission openings currently that we're aware of this year. There is a possibility of one. Brandon is researching that. That's a totally separate issue, but for now, regardless, until that issue is resolved, there would be no appointments to the planning commission. So I'd like a motion to amend the list to remove the planning commission. Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to remove the appointments of any planning commission members from the slate. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Dave, did you vote? Dave Fuller, no vote?
Did you ask me if I voted?
I did.
And what did I say?
You said no.
Yeah.
You voted, you voted no.
I didn't vote.
That's right, it's a no vote. Not a no vote, you just didn't vote.
Thank
No,
you.
that's what I mean. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I see what you mean. The way I said that, it sounded like you might have voted no. You did not vote. I understand. I apologize. Now, the appointments. We have Budget Committee, August Murray, Dylan Brown. We have Connecticut River Joint Committee, Howard Beach. We have Fence Viewer, one vacancy. Amy Beth Main, we can't do a slate.
I do want to say that we did appoint 3 fence viewers last year,
Okay.
but in the past, it's only been 1. It's up to the board if I wanted to continue that from last year. I don't think it's a bad idea to have 3, in case one's not available. However, I have never seen...
Are there any other lists here that say one vacancy that should be 2 or 3 or 5 or 9 or whatever?
No.
Okay. A motion to amend the appointments list to correct the fence viewer to say 3 vacancies. Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second? I'll second the motion. Motion has been made and seconded to increase the fence viewer to 3 vacancies. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And any abstentions? And I think Mr. Ford's an abstention again? Yeah,
I don't know what I am, because I'm really rushed here for these appointments. I've done some homework on these, and I don't know that fair consideration has been given. I'm looking at one where you just said there wasn't any, but there is. When it says, for instance, I don't even know why, but it says surveyor wood and lumber, one vacancy, but there's two names. I don't know from my own personal thinking that enough notice has been given of these. I know I looked up 2021 and all of these appointments were taken up in at least the second meeting away from the reorganization. So that's why I didn't vote the first time around. You're running the show, not me.
And consideration is being given, there are other vacancies and positions. People are asking for these appointments and just trying to honor their requests. So back to the fence viewer, the motion carries to add the vacancies. So for fence viewers, Amy Beth Main and Joseph Bublé. Green Up Coordinator, one vacancy, Stephen Aikenhead. Martin Memorial Hall Trustees, Amy Beth Main, Olivia Savage, Julia Gumbart. Parks and Rec, 7 vacancies, Joseph Bublé, Olivia Savage, Nicole Gagnon, Julia Gumbart. Surveyor of Wood and Lumber, again, it says 1 vacancy. Brandon, what did we do with that last year?
I believe, were you, Amy Beth, were you?
Last year there were multiple layers of coal.
Yes, that's right. But not for the,
Not for the surveyor.
Okay.
No.
So what do you want to do with that? So you want to leave that at 1? So it's only 1 person? If so, what I will do is I will skip the surveyor of wood and lumber at this time, remove it from the slate, and we will take it up separately.
okay.
Tree warden, 1 vacancy, Ryan Gumbart. Veterans Memorial Committee, 7 vacancies, Patience Pierce. Did you tell me that she's removed her name from this?
Not from the veterans.
Not from veterans, okay.
Recreation she did.
Okay.
I've already removed your name.
Okay. So Veterans Memorial, 7 vacancies, Patience Pierce, Dylan Brown, DeForest Pierce. Rayer of Coal, Amy Beth Main, Roderick Bates, John Harrison. Zoning Board of Adjustment, these are 1-year appointments. There are 7 vacancies. I believe it's a 5-member board with 2 alternates, correct?
Yes.
So are all of these people appointed as members, or are some of them alternates?
All 5 of these are full-time members.
Jason Rasmussen, Beth Hutton, Todd Hemminger, Willis Wood, Andrea Murray. That completes the list with just the need to come back to the surveyor of wood and lumber separately. Do I hear a motion to appoint the slate of officers to these committees and positions?
Mike,
Yes?
Andrea Murray also applied to be a fence viewer. I didn't get her name on there, but her application is in the packet. I just received it today.
So Andrea Murray would be added to the fence viewer. That would fill that category. Do I hear a motion to approve the slate?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
I'm new to this role, and I heard sort of what Dave was saying about feeling rushed. And I'm wondering, typical practice of the board, when I'm looking at those applications, how detailed does the board get into the weeds in looking at those appointments?
Brandon has created an application that everybody fills out that details their experience and their position and how they feel about why that they can do that, whatever it is they're asking to do. I do not disagree with Dave on the procedure that we've done in the past. There have been slates and there have been individual things, and there have been periods of time where the appointments have been held up for, I would go so far as to say, a month or two, to make sure that notice was given, so that there was plenty of opportunity for others to get their names in. And I, as I said, I don't disagree with Dave on this. We have a list of people that have submitted their names for appointment. Most of these were already in the past doing this. So I'm honoring that request that they've asked. The board has every right and would not be wrong to say, let's just wait another meeting and we'll take these up again. Give some other people opportunity to put their names in and just revisit this. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Mike, can I make a comment?
With the exception of the zoning board, maybe. That's where you're going, isn't it?
No, we did post on the website all of these vacancies, and I did contact all prior members that served last year in these positions via email with the application and the need for appointment.
And I understand that, and I agree with it. And I'll be honest, I didn't agree with the other part of the process because it kind of affected me. Because it was me that was looking for an appointment, and that was stalled to give other people an opportunity to put their name in. So that, I don't really want to say that so that the board could appoint somebody else. But it is politics, and that's the way it works. And sometimes, I didn't really care for that. But it's the process, and it's your process. It's not my process. So whatever the board chooses to do here is, to move forward is fine. I understand what Brandon is saying. I don't have a problem voting or not voting on this tonight.
It depends on the list. Okay, the zoning board's a big one. It's always been controversial in the past. And these 5 names right here, it says 7 vacancies. It's not. Mike is right. There are 5 full-time vacancies and 2 alternates. The alternates do not have any say if the full-time member can sit in on a case. So if these 5 names get named tonight, they are the sitting board members of the zoning board. That's a lot different than the weigher of coal. It's not really.
Correct.
That.
Right.
Yes, it is.
So
That's right, Dave.
that's a lot different. And the planning board is a multi-year term. Zoning board is all 1 year, which is a little weird, but that's the way it is. I wish they were longer than 1 or 2 years, but they're all 1 year.
It's statutory. They're only allowed 1 year. They have to be appointed every year.
If, we've run into problems in the past where a member who has served a long time on something like that, or the planning, one of the zoning or planning boards, and then they said, I didn't get reached. Now, if Brandon said that he called everybody that served on the zoning board and he didn't hear back, I'm not sure that that connection was made. But he says he tried to make it. But if there's a couple of names that are missing from this that have served on the zoning board, particularly the most current one that I'm aware of, and so I don't know the answer.
Sure.
I'd hate to come into another meeting and say, gee, I didn't know it, and I wish I was because we had appointed you. We didn't know that it was going to be at the reorganization meeting right away, and so on. You'll hear a story. That's all. Now, maybe they'll go along, like Willis has been an alternate the last few years, not just a regular member. So maybe they'll work it out, but maybe they already have, I don't really know.
And I'm recognizing a name that's not on there right now. Brandon?
There could be pending action with the ZBA that needs to be dealt with. Parks and Recreation, Olivia, when is the next Parks and Rec meeting? I don't know if you guys have anything.
No, it's typically the first Wednesday of every month.
Okay, so it wouldn't affect Parks and Rec. Okay.
And you claim that you got a hold of all the current sitting board members.
Yes, I sent a mass email out to as many people as I could.
Did you, and you got no, so it wasn't, no, I'm not gonna do it, you might not have got the response? That's kind of what Dave's response.
Plus if it's an existing case, that would kind of be important, where a new member might have to sit in on something they might not be allowed.
Yes. And I'm seeing a person that's not on here that's currently in that situation.
At least one,
Yes.
I see two.
maybe two, sorry, there's two names.
There's two names.
Well, go ahead and name them, it's okay.
Grace Knights is one.
That's correct. That's what I'm thinking of.
Isn't Mr. Hindinger, is he in here?
He's on there.
That's-
Oh, he's on there.
He's on there.
Wasn't Joe Bridlat a member of the zoning board too?
No, he resigned.
Okay. But he didn't sit in on a case already that's ongoing?
Who, Joe? But it doesn't matter, he resigned. He resigned from the zoning board.
That could be, but I'm just saying that
Did
if,
Grace not stop in today and fill out a form?
I did not receive one, did you, Olivia?
Sorry.
Grace Knight, she didn't stop in today?
She did, I put it in the next
I see.
pack,
I
there's
did
a couple
not know
different,
that.
there's like 3 divorces in there for the next meeting.
So she did put her name in
Yes, Grace Knight and
That's
divorce.
for the zoning board. So that's an issue, because now we have to
I'm
identify.
delaying this to the next meeting.
only if there's a scheduled ZBA meeting. At what length? Apparently, we're meeting again on the 18th for 5 minutes. But
So we may have to hold off on this, on the zoning board. And the reason for that is if she put her paperwork in,
Today.
she's but that's okay. She's a current sitting member, and I do know that there's ongoing legislation that she's working on, the PUD.
Yes.
That she's been involved with for several months, 6 months at least. And what it does is it gives us too many people, because it is, as Dave and I pointed out, it's a 5-member board, and nobody here is listed as an alternate. And we now have 6 individuals.
So, I don't think Jason Rasmussen will mind being an alternate. He has been an alternate in the past.
But that's not our call to make.
Okay. I'll speak with him.
At this point in time, I would say table. You said we don't need them right away?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I think we're all set.
I think the PUD it was pushed out, that's out April, if not May,
Okay.
if I recall. I'm on the planning commissions also, so I have some of that info. But I don't think that's right around the corner. So we've got time. I think we need to just get squared away on who's gonna be what there. With nothing pending, we've got time.
Okay.
Everybody agree with that, okay? So, a motion to remove the zoning board appointments from the slate this evening? Do I hear that, do I hear that motion?
Mike, is there any reason not to just table the appointments and the
can
whole
do-
thing
you-
until next?
You can do that, or we can go back and start over and go down through this and do them individually if you want. Whatever you want to do.
move to table the whole slate.
Yeah.
We'll
Gives
take,
us a little,
we have a motion on the floor to table the slate to the next meeting, which is
318.
3/18.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is tabled to 3/18. Appointments will be on the 3/18 agenda with this slate verified, and reach out to anybody else and get it posted on the town's website. Let's make sure everybody has an opportunity.
It is on the website currently.
I state that more so that everybody knows.
Yeah.
I know that. And to verify, so, okay, so we'll take care of that at the 3/18 meeting, and that takes care of appointments. Sorry to make, appointments that can be, go ahead.
whatever.
No, go ahead.
What actually is the protocol? Does one raise one's hand or just jump up and down, or how do you?
Have to.
Yeah, throw something at me. I try to keep a pretty close eye, but to some degree, you'll get a feel for it pretty quickly. You know, it's somewhat open, but at the same time respectful, and you know, we don't talk over each other, don't argue with each other.
Yeah.
For the most
No,
part.
I just didn't know, do I have to, do 3 umbrella steps first?
If somebody's talking or has the floor and you want to comment, you raise your hand, make sure I see it, and as soon as I see it, you can put it down, and I will come back to you next. I try to keep them in order.
So,
Go ahead.
so my question is, what happens when you actually don't have a candidate for,
Just
there's
leave
no,
open.
there's no animal control officer. What happens if there's an animal control?
We
agent?
usually appoint the new people to the board to fill those seats.
Lucky you.
Go catch that runaway steer.
You're gonna love those kinds of, we love those kinds of questions. Be careful, we'll appoint you too. I know your name. I know you did. Approve the warrant. Do I hear a motion to approve the warrants?
So moved.
You have to read.
Yeah, I know I do.
Okay.
General fund, payroll, $15,283.67. Operating expenses, $28,684.73. Highway fund, payroll, $10,904.67. Operating expenses, $16,862.24. Solid waste management, payroll, $1,901.09. Operating expenses, $19,842.64. Library payroll, $2,362.46. Pacific Grant, what's that for? $4,450.65. Grand totals. I'll finish. $30,451.89 for payroll. Operating expenses, $69,840.26.
Do I hear a second? I'll second the motion. The question was asked by the motion
Pacific
maker.
Grant.
Passive grant, Brandon?
Yeah, so that's one of the grants that we get from our insurance company annually, for safety.
That's money that we take in,
Yep, that's revenue that comes in and then it goes.
then why
out.
is it called operating expenses?
You have to receive it and you have to expend it.
Oh, we spent it right away, huh?
Well, we
I don't know, go ahead.
got it backwards, so you have to spend it and then you get reimbursed.
Oh,
Okay, I got it backwards. That's why I let him do all the talking. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the warrants? This is typically, for the new people, this is where Kelly steps in. This is her forte.
I didn't find anything this time.
And how often is the warrant, is there?
Every meeting, which
So
is
every
what we're
2
gonna
weeks,
discuss when we
because-
get to that next. That's kind of one of those important things that we'll discuss under the.
When you're
other
looking at it,
business.
don't be afraid to ask questions, because I do all the time.
That's correct, absolutely. So is there any further discussion on the warrants? Hearing none, all in favor of the warrant signify by saying aye. Aye. The warrants carry. Any other business? Rika, you were asking about that very question about meetings and why we might be able to do them once a month, other towns too. I'll turn it over to the town manager, but my understanding right now is this right here. We do this every 2 weeks, and in fact, we've had to set up some special circumstances to make sure that we don't end up accruing late fees, because by the time we get the bills and they come to us and things sit around before we get to this, because they can't write the checks and sign the checks till we do this.
Right.
So that's part of our system. As to whether or not that's gonna change or could change, that would be in his hands, I think.
I think we could meet monthly. I know other towns meet monthly. I think it would take us a little bit of time to transition to that as far as the warrant process goes, but it can be done.
The only other thing I would say to that, because we started discussing this at the planning commission, and the first thing that somebody came out with is, well, wait a minute, we're scheduled for a 2-hour meeting now. It's going 2.5 to 3 hours. If we move to once a month, are we here for 4, 5, or 6 hours? And nobody had a good answer to that. And I sure as heck don't want to be here 3, 4, 5 hours. Three's pushing it. So, but that comes down to a couple things, I guess. Part of it's me running the meeting, keeping us on point, but stuff comes up, questions are asked, and we try to work through that stuff. We don't just leave it, ignore it, so.
No, it was sort of a curiosity question rather than.
Sure. No, it's a good question, and we can look into it, see what it looks like. Again, that's up to you. You're the manager.
Is the board interested in me looking into that? What it would take?
I'll ask for a consistent, Nate, is Nate okay, or Nathan?
Either one. I mean, as long as the work gets done that needs to get done, right? If we can be more efficient, I'm all for that.
Rika?
But I'm in a
Like,
learning.
yeah, I would
Just
say
opinion,
like-
just opinion, yeah.
Yeah, and likewise, I mean, if we can,
Cal?
I don't care one way or the other, I just don't want 5-hour meetings.
no,
Absolutely
I know
not.
sometimes we have some pretty long meetings because we've got a lot of stuff
Yep.
that we talk about, and that's what, and 2 meetings a month seem to, seem to be quite a bit of talking even then.
Dave,
15 minutes.
meetings? We could do that. But if you think you were rushed tonight, oh my goodness.
We're not rushed. If it was more organized, we'd go through better.
More organized. Yeah, it's rough. What was I gonna say? I've seen agendas with 22 items on them before, which I got a hold of Brendan and said, you can't do that anymore. Okay, 15's your limit.
There was a lot of action in that. I think we missed a meeting.
See? See?
Not always.
I went to Olivia. I said, Olivia, do not allow him to do more than 15 items, didn't I?
Yes, yes, we did.
I sicked your help on you. But the point is, the agendas could get very long. The amount of time that I've been here and seen what happens in 2 weeks. We try to get stuff off the agenda, but then you're coming back 2 weeks later and you're right back to 17, 18 items again. Going a month could be pretty scary, but I'm fine with exploring that. But you got plenty of other stuff to do right now too. I don't know how that's a top priority, but it seems the board's consensus is to at least look into it.
Okay.
Open meeting law. This is from me, and this has to do with email communications. It is okay for you to communicate with one another individually. At any time, you reach a quorum in any discussion, whether it's on the street or in an email or any other type of electronic communication, where you reach a quorum, you can't be talking about the town's business, okay? There are limited things you can talk about. You can talk about the agenda, items for the agenda, period. Not what the item is that's on the agenda, but putting an item on the agenda. You can talk about that. The dissemination of any data or material relative to the agenda, and the date and time of the actual setting of a meeting. Those things everybody can talk about openly, that's not a problem. But once you go beyond that, like if somebody asks a question or makes a point, and it's to the whole, like you could send something out, like you might have a question and you send it out to the whole board. Don't respond in the email. Bring it back, wait until it gets here. Okay, it's okay to ask the question, but everybody needs to understand, don't get into the conversation online. Wait until you get here and have it an open meeting, and then you're fine. Once somebody, because we went through this, somebody responded, we had a legal review, and that was an open meeting violation. It's a discussion of the entire board that's not called to order, it's not open, so. I just wanted to clarify that, and for that, that's it. Was there any other business? Those were two of them, weren't there 3 things under other business that we were gonna talk about? Yes, no?
I don't think so.
Okay. We're clear on the appointments.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Non-debatable motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, we are adjourned. Please stay where you are, everybody.